This is the first episode in a series of a custom build, a joint venture between Route 21, myself, and IMI, the Italian motorcycle importer, and Moto Guzzi South Africa. And this joint venture is a tribute bike. We're going to be building a tribute bike for Moto Guzzi, but it's a tribute bike of a slight difference. We're not going to be a chop shop. We're not going to build a garage bike. We're going to build a bike that is a tribute bike to the history and the brand and the iconic story of the brand. We're also going to try and keep it as true to Moto Guzzi as we can, meaning we're going to use as many original OEM parts, accessory parts from the Moto Guzzi catalog. So 99% of the parts should be the original Moto Guzzi parts. Only the few parts that really identify it as the tribute to a particular model in the story and the history of it will be handmade here right in South Africa. Now, the bike I'm going to share with you, that we're starting off with a canvas, I've covered in many episodes before, and I've also shared with you that it's the perfect canvas of a bike to start customizing and personalizing. Now, I'm not going to share with you yet what we're doing the tribute to or which particular bike the tribute is to, but it is for Moto Guzzi and one of their very important and iconic bikes in their history. Now, the bike we're going to start off with as the perfect canvas, we've just picked up. We're actually going to run her in because this is going to be a working bike, not a display bike. So we're going to do a bit of running in here in Cape Town, then we're going to bring her up to Johannesburg, and that's where we're going to start ordering all the parts from Moto Guzzi. So stay with me for this incredible journey. Here we have our canvas. This is the Moto Guzzi 2021 V7 Stone Centenario. Now, 2021, it is the Centenario celebrating 100 years of the Moto Guzzi factory, story and brand. Now, it's 2022 this year, and we've just picked this bike up. Only two came into South Africa, and this is the second one. The very first one in a previous episode last year in 2021, I collected. Route 21 owns the very first one in the country. This is the second and last one to come into South Africa, only two. This one we're doing the joint venture on. Route 21 Garage, as well as IMI, Italian motorcycle importer into South Africa, and Moto Guzzi South Africa. We chose this particular bike as the canvas for a very special reason. I don't want to give too much away why, but the V7, because as I've mentioned before, it is the perfect canvas to any custom project in the Guzzi range. Next, there's a reason we chose the Centenario. Being a special bike only produced in 1 year, you should not molest a special. However, we're not going to molest it. We're not going to cut or spray anything. We're going to keep it true to the original. We are going to unbolt and bolt on parts from the Moto Guzzi catalog, from previous models, the races and the specials and so forth. Mechanically, you can't use anything from first, second and third edition, because remember, that was a 750 motor. This is an 850. The suspension is bigger here, the final drive shaft is bigger, the whole exhaust system is bigger, so we have to be careful mechanically. You have to stay with this E5 or fourth evolution. Just a few weeks ago I did the ride review of the V7 Stone 2022 bike, which is pretty much this bike, the fourth evolution. However, cosmetically, whether it's wheels, foot pegs, clip-on handlebars, wherever we go with that, petrol tanks, you can use. They're all interchangeable first, second, third, fourth evolution of the V7 Guzzi. This is the most loved of all models. Started life in 1967, this V7, and 57 years later the model is still in production. It's still one of the most popular models. It still has a stunning history and pedigree, and it is the perfect canvas. Moto Guzzi produces this in the stone like this, the hardy, the modern look, and they produce the V7 special which is more for the classical look. A lot of chrome, 2 clocks, chrome exhaust, spoked wheels, really classy. This is the more modern one. So our tribute bike is a tribute to a very particular and special bike in the history of Moto Guzzi in the 100 years. In the next 30 days, as mentioned, in July, I will be in Italy. I will go to Lake Como, Mandello del Lario, the home, the original birthplace of the brand Moto Guzzi, and I will try in the museum find the bike we going to emulate or give tribute to, and I'll try and do an episode there. That'll be clue number 2, where we're going with this project. For now, color is very important, why we chose this particular bike and model. Just to recap, I've got various episodes up on the V7 explaining where the Moto Guzzi Eagle logo comes from, World War I pilot, 3 friends, where the V7 comes from. The V motor transverse started life as a 700. That's where the V7, the transverse, the final drive shaft, why it was originally designed for the Fiat 500 car, why it was successful but unsuccessful. They couldn't produce that number, and it ended up winning the lowest maintenance bill tender for a bike running over 100,000 kilometers, well, at the lowest maintenance bill. That's where this bike started. And here we are 54 years later in the 57 years later in the 100-year history of this brand. You still have this model, you still have this brand, and it's a brand of many firsts. It was the first manufacturer to use wind tunnel testing, the first center stand. All these little things came from Moto Guzzi, and there is a first and only in the history as well, which we will look for in the museum and we'll bring to. So please remember to click like and subscribe, follow us. So I will be uploading this episode from Italy. I will be doing the story on the bike we're giving tribute to, but for now, just have a look at this stunning canvas we're using. We're going to run it in. I'm going to jump on now, take you for a ride, just let you hear the sounds and experience this bike as it was with the high handlebars before we start changing it. As mentioned, it's not going to be molested. We can always put it back in this, guys, but let me take you for a ride, see what she sounds and feels like as she is, and then we will go for that ride in a later episode in its final incarnation. For now, have a look at this stunning paint job. This is a green metallic luster in it, and it's matte. The gold, the V7 stone brand, the gold, 100 years. This emulating the old aluminium tanks. Look at this brown leather seat. Where do you find that today? With gold embroidery in it, LED lighting. Here you see the dual coil rear shock. That V motor, 90-degree V twin, like this, oil and air cooled, very iconic. You have your shaft drive here on the side, and have a look at this side. This is just the dual rear swing arm. The build quality of this bike is unbelievable. Have a look at this piping. It's just, I love the attention to detail. These LED indicators here. Have a look at this daytime running light, the eagle coming through. It's just all round attention to detail on these Moto Guzzis is beyond. We're going to switch this clock on. Have a look at this, and you see the indicators coming through. It emulates the eagle yet again. Just as you can see, 7 kilometers on the clocks, the auto reading. We picked her up this morning with 3 kilometers. We're going to be running her in here a little bit in Cape Town, then in Johannesburg, and then we will start the build. So please stay with us. I'm going to go for a ride, take you along now, and let's have some fun. We're not going to step into the sporty riding style here with this bike, because this motor must be loved and cared for, and we're going to run it in properly. Now, as mentioned before, this is the 4th evolution of the Moto Guzzi V7s. Started in 1967, was rebirthed around about 2012 with the first edition, then came a 2nd and 3rd edition, and the biggest major facelift came in 2021. The V7 designation comes from the V motor, 90-degree V, and oil cooled, and the 7 came from, it started life off as a 700cc, so V7 naturally. It later, from 2012 onwards, with the first and second, third edition, was about 750, I think 754cc, and from 2021 with that major facelift came the 850cc, and that motor is actually derived off the V85 Tutor Tirano motor. Slightly different programming, different horsepower, different torque, but perfectly suited to this little fun bike. I mean, this bike is the perfect commuter. You can go to the shops, get some milk. You can go on a Sunday cruise. You can actually tour on it. It is so comfortable. You can sit on this bike. The seat is so perfectly cushioned. It has a really low seat. You get both feet flat on the ground. It's not intimidating. It has a low center of gravity. I love shaft drive. There's no maintenance. There's no stretching of the chain or chain lubing or cleaning it. It's just wonderful. And it stayed so true to its original form, with a transverse V motor and oil cooled, with the final drive shaft and the proportions, the wheelbase, everything from 1967 to this day. It has the same quirks and all that, and Moto Guzzi gives you the options should you want to be more in line to prefer the nostalgia, the original cosmetics of the original. You get in the special V7 special, you get the spoked wheel, you get all your chroming, you get your dual clocks with analog. And should you like the upgrade and the more modern hardy look, but still retain the V7 charm and charisma of it all, then you get this stone, which gives you the single clock. It gives you the digital, the LCD display, and daytime running lights, LED lighting, all the modern creature comfort. These bikes now have all the electronics of traction control, ABS, everything you want. So wonderful bike, safe bike. As I mentioned in my previous episodes, this is not a bike where you jump from your car or another bike on this bike and you really got to change your thinking and your riding style because you got an old bike with drum brakes, really bad braking. No, this is a completely modern bike. Everything's on here. You jump from any bike, any modern piece of kit, and jump on this bike, you just ride it the same. This bike has Brembos, this bike handles, it has ABS, has everything, so you don't have to plan your braking. You just get on and ride. So fantastic piece of kit. Look at how beautiful she looks, and we're out here in the sunshine. We've got such phenomenal weather here in this country. It's real biking country. The roads are beautiful, and on a handmade piece of art that I'm on. Yes, these bikes are hand built in Italy, Mandello del Lario, and it is actually the birthplace. It's in the original factory, and that's where I'm going in July. And I want to find out more about this brand, about the history, want to see the factory, and just get behind the whole brand and the ethos, and just experience more of the brand. Now, this bike is our maiden ride. We're going to run it in. We're on 11 kilometers now, and I want you to just have a look at the controls, the high handlebars, straight handlebars, single clock, and the sound of the exhaust. Bike, as you see on idle, that's the quirk of this motor. It rocks over to the right at idle. It's the balancing flywheel. It's just one of those quirks. I absolutely love it. And we will then, when we have the custom completed, do a ride and compare. So this is the standard V7, the canvas as provided by Moto Guzzi factory. Nippy little motor, got nice torque curve, everything, such a cool display. You see your RPMs around the outside. We're not going to go over the top with those. Your speed over here, you've got your gear indicator, 5th gear over here, your odo reading, everything. And just love these indicators when you flick them on left and right. and it's just wonderful how it goes with this whole eagle concept. If you look at the daytime running light, the silhouette of the eagle is there. It's just fantastic. Here we're cruising 80 kilometers an hour. Obviously there's no wind protection on this bike. We will see with the finished product whether we're going to have some wind protection, but upright, wide handlebars, nice big mirrors either side, and we're just gonna ride a little bit and run her in. So here we have the V7 Stone in the Centenario edition, only produced for 1 year, 2021. Reason for that, the birth of this company Moto Guzzi was in 1921, 100 years, therefore the name Centenario. It is based on the V7 Stone, and it gets a special paint job, marking to a very special bike in the history of Moto Guzzi. First bike into the country, just to recap, was the Route 21 bike, which we uncrated and put in our private collection. There's only 2 bikes coming to South Africa. This is the second bike. This bike is the canvas. It's not going to be sold. It is the canvas bike between IMI, Italian motorcycle importer into South Africa, Moto Guzzi South Africa, and Route 21. It is our canvas, our starting point. In the next episode, I will be going to the Moto Guzzi Museum, and in that museum I will be sharing clue number 2 for the tribute. I hope you enjoyed this episode with us and you are just as excited for this build. Please remember to give us a like as well as a thumbs up. If you know where we're going with this project and what bike we are building, please let us know, give us some ideas what we can incorporate in this build, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button to help me build the channel, but also subscribe and reminder bell so you follow us. You know when I'm uploading the next episode. When I'm in Italy from Mandello del Lario, I will upload that evening, and you will be the first to know where we're going with this project. You will be constantly updated when IMI is importing me the parts. As I receive the parts, I will be sharing what parts are coming in and keep you updated and informed, and share the story with you step by step as we're going along. And when the final bike is revealed, we will go for a ride and we'll go back to back with this bike, do a sound comparison, a handling comparison, a seated position, and a full ride review on the final bike as well. What we're gonna do now is we're just gonna ride her back to the Moto Guzzi Cape Town shop, and we will leave the bike there. We'll do a couple more runs and then we'll have her shipped up to Johannesburg, where we will complete the running end process. But now back to the shop, Guzzi Aprilia shop here in Cape Town, Lauberg. If you're ever in Cape Town, definitely come visit them. They have a higher fleet of V85 Moto Guzzis, of MGX Moto Guzzis, MGX 21 Flying Fortress. So definitely you can hire a beautiful Moto Guzzi and test ride any of their bikes, and come visit their highly knowledgeable and very passionate sales staff.